first players that we've got are going to be putting on a show for us in our first set of the day, which is going to be Siren or Shaneak against Skaws. Now, a couple of things that we're already noticing here. So the first thing is that, of course, we are not seeing...
Monday Loogie.
Not seeing that. That's the very first thing. If you got eyes, you can tell that one. But we're seeing Corrin on the screen.
Yeah.
Now, this isn't a character that Shaneak is typically known for. Mainly known for the Inkling, one of the few Inklings that are still pushing the character forward. But I think obviously with the recent success of both Neo and Shaneak across the world, maybe feeling a little bit inspired. But of course, Skaws as well being recently ranked quite highly on the UK PR and having a multitude of really excellent results to push himself even higher. This is going to be one hell of a set.
The Corrin like influx and like the sudden popularity in the character is so weird because obviously, I mean, I get it, you know, with how good Neo and, well, both Neo and Shaneak are doing as of late in bracket. But I'm quite close to Neo, and I talked to him about like how there's a sudden, because it's not just the UK thing. There's loads of people like worldwide picking up Corrin more and more in their arsenal, notably Spargo, notably Leo as well, not Neo. And it's weird because Neo himself thinks that it's not necessarily that Corrin is particularly anti-meta in the current meta. It's not like Corrin does particularly incredible against like your Steves or, well, Corrin does very good against Kazuya's or like Game & Watch or characters like that. They do okay. But as you can see here, Toon Link, I mean, what do you think of this matchup?
It's an interesting one. So I asked Skaws a little bit about this earlier on, and he was fairly confident in the matchup on paper because even though she's got fast frame data and that disjoint as well, she has to play at a range that Toon Link is fairly comfortable in. But of course, there's always that sort of elephant in the room that is matchup unfamiliarity, right?
Right.
You know, even at this point now, I know they've played a few times before and the sets have been fairly close, I believe going to Game 5 most of the time. Yeah. But Toon Link is a matchup that you've really got to get down if you want to do well in the UK because of Skaws. Skaws being one of the best to do it with the character.
Kind of like a gatekeeper.
Exactly.
In a lot of events.
But then in the same vein, Corrin as a character is something that we haven't really seen right at the top of the UK especially. Right. And Siren in particular is so strong fundamentally, obviously known for the Inkling, but having a multitude of other characters is going to be able to sort of pick up and play the character fairly quickly, and we're already seeing it in effect nearly an entire stock lead in the favor of Siren at the moment. I'm scared as well, brother. Don't
I felt
you
a
worry.
pink coming.
Yeah, scary bit. Oh, I love that. Just, it would have caught the shield as well, but then the roll in also getting caught. So lovely. And yeah, just again, going for that forward smash at this kind of percent, even if you're landing it with the sort of like the saw blade at the top, you're still going to get the stock regardless. There's very, very specific counterplay. But honestly, if there's one player that I feel like would know that, it would be Skaws.
Last hit though for Skaws at the moment really needs to turn the tides quickly or else he's going to be going down a game here. Take his time, finds us there, and the tech chase down smash not going to be enough.
So difficult in that situation, right? And again, just the bomb, but not quite being ready for the forward air. And yeah, DI not quite being there. Pin is so difficult because if you aren't quite ready for it, your DI is just not going to be there. And particularly that sweet spot tipper, it's so powerful. So that's going to be 1-0 in the favor of Siren currently. And it feels like Skaws, I mean, as are most players at this level, very quick to adjust, very quick to adapt.
Yeah.
And Skaws the kind of player to do his homework as well. He's very methodical. He's, you know, very much a labber of the game. So he's going to be used to automatically thinking, right, these weird situations such as, you know, the pin tech chases, the forward smashes, how am I going to get around them necessarily? So it's going to be interesting to see. In the meantime, of course, Siren is going to have that level of familiarity and doesn't necessarily have to adjust, but it's going to be seeing what he changes up in response to Skaws' adjustments.
As far as I'm aware, Skaws has definitely played the matchup at a super high level. And I mean super high as in top, because I think it was SmashCon. At the very least, I know that Skaws played Neo at the pre-local, the Xanadu pre-local, for like top 5 or 6 or something. And that was the very same pre-local where afterwards at SmashCon, Neo got 5th. So Skaws definitely has that like tippy-top experience against Corrin. But Siren here, going a game ahead, even with the Neo skin.
Honestly, I think that's also another element that comes into it though, right? Is that when you've got like the dedicated main, you almost know exactly what to expect because they're going to be going for the most optimal things and
Right.
so forth. When you're against somebody that's just fundamentally strong but doesn't
Fundy
have
scoring.
that, like, yeah, and like doesn't have that like situational awareness that you get from maining a character for a long time. Sometimes they're going to go for these quite odd options that maybe you're not necessarily expecting. Still good options, but it just means that you've got to almost take your pre-existing knowledge and then adjust it quickly based on the player, not the character. I love the bravery shown there by Skaws, knowing that he's got that time to throw out the bomb, even with the fully charged neutral B, because that could have been curtains for both the stock and the shield, depending. But again, Siren just being really, really strong at this point, nearly taking the stock, and again, another DI check, but Skaws passes it this time.
Yeah. Back to your point about like being like a Fundies player and playing a particular character weirdly. You're completely correct, because I remember Neo when he was watching Spargo somewhere. Whenever he watches Spargo, he always talks about how like in any particular X scenario, Y scenario, he'll always be like, why didn't Spargo do this? Why didn't Spargo do that? He could have killed him. He could have killed him there. But obviously, like when it comes to who kind of gets the better wins, I feel like it's obvious.
Yes.
Even in the head-to-head, I think, yeah, Spargo beat Neo the last time they played. It was a King Kong, I think.
We're seeing it already at the moment. Skaws beginning to see this mountain becoming larger and larger that he has to climb. Already taken 71%, and I love that weight, just knowing that he couldn't quite get the conversion, wasted and reacted for an option, be it an aerial, an air dodge, or in that case a counter, and just about managing to keep the stocks. And it is at this early percent where Skaws really likes to make his money. He's got those options on deck, and I love that. There we go, and the bomb being ready as well, just the counterplay around that forward smash, and just that perfect little sprinkle of luck to just have the bomb ready to recover, because he was a little bit too low. Oh, that was a very strange interaction. Just the Zare just sort of
the Zare kind of, yeah,
yeah.
like flopped up. That was really weird. Alright, Skaws in a bit of trouble here. Doing anything but having his stock taken at the moment.
Yeah, it's the real hard part, right, is that Toon Link's disadvantage isn't necessarily the strongest thing in the world, and particularly when you've got a quick and sweeping hitbox like Corrin's up air, it's so difficult to get around, because even if you miss, she's still going to get to the ground faster than you, and then can just continue the onslaught. But at this point now, Skaws just being a little hair off on the up air, wouldn't have necessarily killed with those higher blast zones, but certainly would have continued that disadvantage state. But we are going to see Skaws once again stuck in the corner, and this is exactly where you don't want to be.
Oh, that might.
Nice. Yeah, real good awareness there.
Talent
from
stuff.
Skaws.
Yeah.
And also to hold it against the fully charged neutral B, because that can break like a 3/4 full shield. So Skaws just having that knowledge to be like, I'm just going to hold on because I know I can get this punish, and having the perfect punish on deck as well. It just goes to show the levels that these players are playing.
I gotta say, Skaws is hitting these dash attacks though. Like, he seems to, considering how small that dash attack looks, how puny that tiny little sword is whenever Toon Link kind of thrusts it out there. Like, Skaws is getting them in. And, I mean, in terms of the damage race, Skaws still slightly behind, but he's managed to catch up brilliantly. No, nothing on the tech here. Gets an F-tilt.
Yeah, I think going for that forward smash, I think maybe Siren anticipating a spot dodge there, but Skaws being a step ahead, instead just rolling away as the forward smash came out. We can see at the moment here, Toon Link got to be real careful, a very light boy he is, and going for that tech chase, down smash, back hit, managing to connect here, and look at this bomb play from the both of them, and the up air pin as well. You've got to be so careful against Corrin on stage.
Yeah, I felt like Siren just kind of smelled that fastball from nowhere and read the drift completely, and Skaws falling right into Siren's hands. 2-0 already. I mean, Skaws. I sense some adaptation. Definitely a better performance than in the first game, but we'll see.
It's a difficult one, right? Because it feels like, again, when you're against somebody as fundamentally strong as Siren, it's also they're making those adjustments to you on the fly. Like, I really like in that situation there, right at the end, where it was almost the main mix-up that it feels like Skaws had been going for in terms of recovery was either the tether to the ledge or the drop low and up B up. And they're the two main things that Toon Link is going to go for. But going for the pin at that moment, it was just above where tether was going to work. So it was almost as if, like, Skaws was in the middle of deciding, right, which of these two am I going to go for, but Siren kind of caught it before the decision could even be made. And it's so good to see, because again, it's something that Siren will keep up the sleeve until right at that moment where it matters.
Yeah, one thing, I suppose one word that you can describe Corrin to be is overwhelming, with like the amount of option coverage that you can do with the character, and also how much kill power you can get off of those, you know, coverage options. There's like no surprise as to how, like, you see like so many posts on Twitter about how like Corrin is just Game & Watch with a sword. I keep seeing those comparisons a little too much. Maybe a little too much. You guys gotta kind of chill out with that comparison.
Let's give it a year, and then we can.
Corrin's good, but like, whoa.
But we are going to go back to Town and City. I do like the idea. I think Skaws does like having that little bit of room, being able to abuse Toon Link's sort of superior ground speed. That was the one thing that Skaws was mentioning as a weakness, was the fact that Corrin's speed in general is really not the best, both in the air and especially on the ground as well. So having that bit more room does allow him to get his projectiles set up, being able to pull that bomb as that really nice out shield option. But in the same vein, it is a lot of kills off the side that we've been seeing Siren manage to get, which is sort of becoming more of a double-edged sword for Skaws.
Right. Siren putting on the pressure, that might be it. No, not enough. Skaws with the high up B. Actually, the bomb to interrupt it, but Siren, regardless, going to be able to find the up air, and yet again going a stock ahead.
I like, again, Siren just waiting and reacting, being able to react to the fact that the bomb was very close to exploding, and whether it was going to be one of those where Skaws was going to shield and then hope to use the explosion, or whether to just adjust the trajectory that he was going to be at.
Yeah.
Siren just waited, reacted, got the perfect punish, and even with a little bit of suspect DI, it was still very much in the favor of Siren. But I love that. I can feel the aggression in that up smash as Skaws manages to seal the stock away, but this is yet another scary situation. Skaws finding himself in the corner. It's scary with these defensive characters. You find yourself cornering yourself, and against this character, it's the last place you want to be.
Siren finding a grab. What can he find the ledge here? Almost the pin, but the back hitbox is going to connect anyway. Skaws with a little bit of damage. Dash tag yet again coming in clutch. Back throw from Siren though. Ah, yeah, caught lacking. Little too long at the ledge there, and Skaws really on the back footing at the moment. Potentially his last stock of winner's side.
Yeah, and given how close these sets have been in the past as well, like I said, I think the last two sets that these two have played have gone down to a game 5, but Siren really clicking with Corrin in this situation, knowing all the sort of, obviously having, like we've mentioned several times, that fundamental gameplay, but also the little tricks and traps that people can sometimes fall for against Corrin. For a character that presumably Siren's not been playing for that long, he really looks like he's been almost at home with this character for a number of years with the gameplay that we're seeing here. But Skaws, of course, going to be electing, trying to get that bomb into forward air, it not quite working out, and love that. So the counterplay there, you've got an SDI up and then air dodge down or air dodge out. But Siren, knowing this, just electing to try and let go a little bit early, but is eventually going to lose that stock to the high recovery, being covered by that forward air. And now we are at dead even stock position.
I'd definitely say this is doable for Skaws at the moment. Just needs to, like you said, like Siren clearly knows some of these like goofy setups and like some of the weird kind of surprise kill confirms. So Skaws just got to watch out for some of them and kind of just take it slowly. I like how Skaws has kind of slowed the pace a little bit, but
there it goes. There it goes. I love that neutral air into the back air and a clean 3-0 on behalf of Siren. It did feel as if Skaws was beginning to claw his way back into it. And I mentioned earlier about Skaws being a student of the game. Let me tell you, if they play this matchup again in a month's time, it's going to be so much closer. Skaws is going to go home. Skaws is going to lab away, watch those VODs back, and he will be back much, much stronger. But unfortunately for him, he's got a bigger challenge ahead of him, and that is the losers bracket of this event, going to be dropping down as we get our next match.
Yeah, no time to waste apparently.
No, we are going and going.
This time around, we have Solarts versus Kendrick Olimar. You were